What you're about to see is based on a true story. The film opens with Natascha Kampusch as a young girl, about 10 years old. She's with her father at a bar, where he drinks too much and forgets to take her home early for school. She eventually returns home late, getting only a few hours of sleep. The next morning, her mother wakes her up and tells her to get ready for school. In the kitchen, Natascha sits down for breakfast. Her mother scolds her, saying that a bar is no place for a child, and warns that if her father ever takes her there again, it will be the last time she allows it. Natascha talks back, which causes her mother to lose her temper and raise her hand at her, but she immediately regrets it and apologizes. Upset and angry, Natascha leaves the house without eating and heads to school. On her way, she walks while crying over what happened. Suddenly, a man named Wolfgang steps out of a van, grabs her, forces her inside, and drives her away. He takes her to his house and locks her in a tiny underground room hidden beneath the floor behind a closet. Natascha wakes up in a cramped, windowless space with no sunlight. The room has only an air vent, a sink, and a toilet. Wolfgang enters, brings her a thin mattress, some food and water, then leaves without saying a word, locking the door behind him. She desperately tries to open the door, but fails. She screams for help, but no one can hear her from underground. On the third day, Wolfgang returns with books and reads stories to her. He even brings her biscuits she likes. As he prepares to leave, Natascha stops him and asks for a goodnight kiss like her mother used to give her. He hesitates for a moment, then kisses her on the head and leaves. News of Natascha's disappearance spreads everywhere. Wolfgang watches the reports with his mother, who regularly visits him to clean and cook. She wonders who could take a little girl, and he pretends ignorance, saying whoever did it must be mentally disturbed. One day, Wolfgang takes Natascha out briefly to wash her hair. She gives him a letter to deliver to her family, but he refuses and lies, telling her that her family doesn't care and never searched for her. When she calls him a liar, he reacts violently, forcing her head into the water and yelling at her to stop crying. Later, the police question Wolfgang, but they find nothing suspicious. Natascha asks him for a clock so she can track time, and he agrees on the condition that she behaves. He also installs a phone in the room so they can communicate. She asks him if he ever feels lonely like she does, but he ignores the question. Days turn into weeks. Natascha begins playing alone, pretending objects are her classmates. She even draws a door on the wall, imagining an escape from her isolation. Wolfgang controls every aspect of her life, showing clear signs of deep psychological instability. At one point, she pretends to be sick, hoping to see a doctor, but he realizes she's lying and punishes her severely by depriving her of food for several days. Years pass. The neglect and abuse continue. Natascha becomes extremely thin due to hunger and stress. Wolfgang manipulates her further, claiming that the doors and windows are rigged with explosives. After 4 years, he briefly allows her outside, and she sees sunlight for the first time since her abduction. One day, his mother notices a strand of blonde hair and assumes he has a girlfriend. After she leaves, Wolfgang shaves Natascha's head to erase any trace of her presence. During Christmas, Natascha celebrates alone in her small room. Wolfgang arrives with food, gifts, and a camera to record her reaction as she opens them. She asks if she can call her father, but he becomes angry and tells her that her family is no longer part of her life. Over time, he strips away even the smallest freedom she has, leaving her completely powerless. As the years go by, the psychological and physical damage becomes overwhelming. He treats her like a servant, constantly insulting her and withholding food. One day, he takes her out to help choose paint for his room. He leaves her alone briefly, but years of fear and control leave her frozen, unable to act. More years pass, and she hears on the radio that people now believe she might no longer be alive. Eventually, Wolfgang admits that he chose her simply because he once saw her smiling as a child. He reveals that he spent months secretly building the underground room before abducting her. At one point, overwhelmed with despair, Natascha attempts to start a fire in the room, but her survival instinct stops her at the last moment. When Wolfgang finds out, his reaction is deeply disturbing. From then on, she starts counting every incident and documenting them on tissues, trying to hold on to her sense of reality. After 8 years, he takes her on a skiing trip. In a bathroom, she tries to tell a woman who she really is, but the language barrier prevents the woman from understanding. When Wolfgang realizes what she tried to do, she faces severe punishment once again. On her 18th birthday, he forces her to celebrate and dance with him, even though she is physically exhausted and emotionally shattered. The next day, he asks her to clean his car because he plans to sell it. While he steps away to answer a phone call, Natascha notices that the garden gate is open. This time, she makes a different choice. She runs. She escapes as fast as she can, reaches a nearby house, and tells the people inside that she has been held captive. The police arrive shortly after, and she finally tells them her name. After 3,096 days, Natascha is finally reunited with her family. As for Wolfgang, after discovering her escape, he is later found dead.